What's up guys, this is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4 and I'm going to be giving you a beginner's guide to Marvel Heroes Omega PS4. So, the first things first, after you complete the prologue, so this very first mission, the rafting land pad, you're going to receive 525 Eternity Splinters. So those Eternity Splinters are going to look like this. And what those Eternity Splinters are for is there to purchase any character on the character list. So in the roster right here. The only two characters you cannot purchase is Iron Fist and War Machine. War Machine you unlock with PS Plus and he's I think $16.99, and then Iron Fist you have to have all the founders packs. So you can either do that, you can either purchase any of these characters except for there's three characters you can't purchase that cost $7.50 or $7.25. I know one of them is Jean Grey. I think the other is Rocket Raccoon and Wolverine, I believe. Actually, no, I don't think Rocket Raccoon is. I know that Jean Grey and Wolverine are, but I don't remember the other ones, the last one. But the three cheaper characters that are, I believe, in the 200s are Angela, Squirrel Girl, and Nova. And those three are don't think that just because they're the cheapest characters that they're bad. They are actually probably one of the better characters to choose. Nova being one of the best ones to choose as a starter character.
Scott. I can feel your
Squirrel
tension
Girl
from here.
and Angela are really good right now because they're the one of the only two
Aurora,
characters that have Confused. I mean, there are a couple other characters with Confused, but you want to have Confused on those two characters because you know they can make bosses kill each other, which is pretty funny. Another thing with Eternity Splinters, you can go into your ultimate upgrade and it only costs 200 Eternity Splinters to upgrade your ultimate power. So if you've already bought all your characters and you don't know what to spend your Eternity Splinters on, you can either save it for future characters or you can just purchase your ultimate upgrade. So next thing is how you should be leveling up leveling up your characters is you should be doing the story one by one, obviously, but not just the story itself, but you want to be doing the treasure rooms and the supervillain showdown. So as you can see, it says supervillain showdown right there, Electro's company. I'll just do it on normal real quick, and then I'll just go to the first treasure room. The reason why you want to go to these treasure rooms and the villain showdowns is because they give you a chest, and those chests will have green orbs, and those green orbs will give you experience. So the first treasure room is gonna be on the first left, and then just straight up. So we just go ahead and do this real quick. Don't worry, this is only on normal, so and then you get that chest, and yeah, you get to open it and get a bunch of good stuff, get nice relics, and yeah. So you want to do those treasure rooms and villain showdowns. Villain showdowns, it's gonna look like a treasure room, but it's gonna have a triangle with a skull in the middle. Another thing is you want to skip their enemies. You don't need to kill every single enemy you see because honestly they don't give you as much experience. The only ones that'll give you a lot of, or not a lot, but a noticeable amount of experience is the enemies that are glowing yellow and glowing blue. The ones that are glowing yellow give you the most. The ones that are glowing blue give you more than the ones that are not glowing. So it would be good to kill those guys if you can. But you don't have to worry about it. Just skip through the story, come kill the boss or do the objective, come and complete it because you get more experience from the quest completion.
How fares the X-Man of Steel
Um,
today?
so the way the Eternity Splinters work is you get Eternity Splinters, you get 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 Eternity Splinters every 7 or 8 minutes. But you have to kill an enemy. It doesn't just pop up in your inventory. So you have to you have to kill an enemy every 7 or 8 minutes to get 1 of 5 Eternity Splinters.
So, Greenie!
So
I get your
there's
cousin's
that.
phone number?
The next thing is you want to try to unlock your next difficulty as soon as possible. So the way you would do that is you would come to the waypoint, go into trials, and then you would do heroic trial. It's recommended to do heroic trial from level 1 to 20 or whatever. Mainly because, well, this is an easier trial. You want to do that as early as possible. Super heroic unlocks at the same time heroic unlocks. So as soon as you finish heroic trial, you can go straight into super heroic. But you have to keep in mind, super heroic is harder than the heroic trial. So most people wait until they're at least level 20. The best thing to do when you do that is, if you've got a friend who's already completed up to chapter 8, or has completed chapter 8, you want to have them join you, because if you're a new player, you're more than likely not going to have this area unlocked. You want to have a friend or someone that can take you into Doomstat Inner Village, because over there at Doomstat Inner Village there's a vendor, and it only costs 999 regular credits and 1 Eternity Splinter, and it's purple gear. So you want to buy one of each of these for your character, because it will, I'm just letting you know, it will help your character out so much that, I mean, it's not gonna be like a super carry or whatever, a super blowout, but it's gonna be better than the gear that you're wearing right now. Unless you have supply boxes and you open that early on, then you're gonna have some cosmics or something. But with those purple gear that you can purchase, they have a chance of giving you cosmics as well, but it's only at level 20. Another tip is, if you are using your boosters, if you ended up buying any founders packs and you have boosters in your inventory, you can, the best way to use your experience boosters is doing the story mode. Just doing the story mode and the treasure rooms. Don't do any other activity if you're trying to work on just leveling up with your boosters. For the currency boosters, don't worry about credits, because credits are going to be super easy to come by once you're level 60, and through cosmic and all that, because you'll be getting cosmic essence. Let me see if I have any. You'll be getting cosmic essence right here, and it's 25,000 each. So I have 6, and it's 150,000 credits. And you'll also be able to get cosmic credit chests, which cost 500,000 credits. So credits won't be an issue. You want to use the currency booster for bosses. Just farm bosses on the easiest difficulty, because you'll get 1 to 6 legendary marks depending on how many boosts you used. You want to generally use 5 boosts, because that's 2.5 hours and you get the most out of it too. So you get 200% experience, 200%, or 6 legendary marks, or 5 times points for your supply boosts. Speaking of supply boosts, don't worry about killing regular enemies. It does give you points per kill, but you want to use those boxes, those supply booster, to kill the yellow and blue enemies, because you get just way more points from them. I even tested this out yesterday or a couple days ago to see how much points if I could level up in one operation without killing any blues or yellow guys. so I went into a normal match. It doesn't matter what difficulty you're on either.
Spider-Man.
And my bar barely went up to a full bar. When I went to my cosmic operation, because there's way more blues and yellows, I my bar went up by a full. It almost went up by two full bars. So you definitely want to do that. So the next is and once you hit level 60, you're going to be given the option to prestige. And the way you prestige is you would go to your roster, and then you would go to the character you're currently on, press triangle, and then you would press X, or you would hold X. But as you can see, it says your power and talents unlocks will be reset, but you will retain ultimate power upgrades and infinity points. Just because it says ultimate power upgrades does not mean you will be able to use your ultimate power at level 1. You still have to be level 60 to use your ultimate power, but if you upgraded your ultimate power, then it'll still stay at whatever rank that you had upgraded it to. And the infinity points, you do get to keep your infinity points, and you still do earn infinity points, but you cannot use your infinity points unless you have another level 60 in your roster. So if you prestige your one and only level 60, then you won't be able to use or put points into your infinity points. You'll still be able to gain infinity points, but you won't be able to slot them. So your items are retained, but will be unequipped if they are not usable at level 1. So that means if you're using level 60 cosmic gear, you will not be able to use them, and they'll just come off right away. Each prestige rank requires 25% more total experience than the previous rank, which means your experience pool has increased by 25%. You can prestige up to 6 times, which means your prestige pool increases by 150%. So that's 2.5 times more experience that you need to gain than you originally did from the first level. So what you can gain from prestiging is you gain an emblem next to your name. So if you look at my Psylocke, I've only prestiged her twice. I'm not really planning on prestiging her anymore. I only prestiged her twice for the trophy, but the trophy is bugged. But as you can see, I have that emblem next to my name. The one with 6 would have 3 lines, like a star under, and 2 lines under. So it's not bad. So you have that. You can also gain a flourish. It's gonna be a green flourish, which will go right here. I normally don't leave mine on. I'm pretty sure I have one in the storage. And then another thing you can get is a random booster. So that way you don't have to necessarily purchase boosters. You can actually earn a bunch of boosters from prestiging a bunch of characters. But that's just a bunch of time it's going to be very, very, very time consuming. But yeah, you can gain any random booster. It's going to give you 1 random booster. So if you're looking for a specific booster, then good luck. And the next thing you can earn is bragging rights towards friends, I guess, or people. If you've prestiged your character 6 times, I've only seen a few people that did that, and I have a friend who prestiged 6 times, and he hated it. But yeah, you can prestige up to 6 times and have bragging rights, but it really doesn't bother me at all if you've prestiged 6 times, while I have like 6 times more characters than But anyways, so that's that. Oh, and also when you prestige, you do not have to redo your trials. So if you went all the way up to Cosmic Trials, completed that, and you decide to prestige, you'll still keep all 3 difficulties. Only thing is,
Deadpool,
with heroic and superheroic, those 2 difficulties unlock at level 11. So even though you've already completed them at level 11 before, and you prestige and you're level 1, you cannot go into those difficulties until you're level 11. And Cosmic doesn't unlock until level 60. So there's that. The next thing is your vendors. So vendors can be ranked up So you had the logistics division quartermaster, you have the engineering division specialist, and you have the science division specialist. You don't necessarily need to rank them up like right away. It would be good to rank them up while you're going through the story. So you can either do two different things.
What can I
So
requisition
you
for you?
can go into the donate and just donate gear and items that you don't want. What a lot of people have done is they've just donated their cosmic essence and their credit chest, because that you get the same amount of credits you would get if you sold the item is the same amount of donation experience you would get. And as you can see at the very top, it says mine is level max 622,877 experience. That's just how much experience you need to gain in total. But the thing is, it'll reset. So if it says like 1 out of 5,000, you hit that 5,000 cap, it'll go back to 1 or 0 for the next rank. So you can either donate your gear, or you can buy engineering schematic data, the supplier contact for information and technical readouts. Then you can go into this lady right here, research and development analyst.
Jen, I feel safer
And then
already.
you can purchase level 1, 2, or 3 of the researches, and then you would just craft. It does cost a bit of cash, so if you do it this way, then make sure you sell gear that you do not want and items and whatnot. So you want to do that, craft, and then I'll go to this level 3 one. So you would go to craft, and then what you would do after that, you would go to inventory, you would go to supplies, boxes, open, and then it'll give you random materials and your item that you purchased. So with this, you would go to miscellaneous, and then you would open this, and then you get 50,000 experience for level 3, level 2 gets 25, and level 1 gets, I believe, 10,000. So, and it helps a lot too when you're trying to level up your vendors. I mean, there's multiple different ways. So with vendors, with the engineering and engineering division specialist, he's mainly used not necessarily to craft gear, because the gear you can craft isn't that great. I mean, it's good to be able to craft the purple gear if you have a bunch of materials and you're trying to do superheroic or cosmic or whatever. But this vendor is mainly used for his subcomponents, because I mean, it's pretty hard to farm materials in general. I mean, the only materials you can really farm are the basic materials like meteorite dust, biological samples, magnetic materials, and spare parts. So you would craft these ones with you would craft the rare items or rare or uncommon materials from your common materials, and then you would use those uncommon materials and common materials to craft your rare materials. And then what you can do with the science division specialist,
We can use your help.
is you can mod your gear, which is from these ones right here, the one with the armor and weapon looking ones. The armor looking ones will cost you more. It'll cost you modification installation kits, which is 100 legendary marks, and I'll get to that later. The something like cerebral coordinator doesn't require any modification kits. With this, you can mod any part of your gear, any and every gear, um, except for the utility or accessory of superhero gear, weapon or accessory. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So you have that, and then you can, with the ones that look like this. These are for your mods, your artifacts. So you can mod your artifacts. You might want to read the ones you want to get. They also cost 100. They also cost modification kits, which is 100 legendary marks. Another thing is you can re-roll your gear and unbind your gear. Unbinding gear does technically cost $1, $1 real dollar. because you have to purchase a matrix of unbinding, which is 100 Gs, and 100 Gs is $1 basically. But you can only buy up to 500 Gs in for the very least, so you're spending $5. Um, so the way that reconstructing works is re-rolling is with the dimensionally shift artifact. You can re-roll any artifact you would like, and that what this does, it re-rolls all the numbers
Greetings, Your
and the
Highness.
fix, the talent on it. Reconstruct cosmic medallion or ring. This will change everything about your ring. If it's, I believe if it's one of the discharge rings, which are the fatter rings, then it'll still leave it at that, but it'll change like the numbers on those. And if it's the skinnier ring, which is the crit rings, the DPS rings, then it'll just change
Your
the other
power
two
would be
stats for
better
those as well.
tempered with honor, friend Hulk.
Reconstruct random cosmic artifact effects. So what this is, what's different from this and this, is this one changes your numbers, this one changes the cosmic talent. So if you don't really want to change the cosmic numbers, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to use this to change the talent. So this one is actually really good because most of your cosmic items that you want to change, you want to change their talents to +1 to all attributes if you end up getting a cosmic artifact later down the road. Reconstruct weapons and armor. This one is you reroll all your weapons and gear. So what this is, it's just like the cosmic medallion and ring. It'll change everything about your weapon and armor. It'll change the numbers, it'll change the stats, it'll change the talents.
Fellow Avenger.
So you won't be able to change one stat, it'll change everything. So it's not like in Diablo 3 where you can change one stat or whatever from rerolls. It just changes everything, and you have an unlimited amount of rerolls, but you are limited to materials. So it does cost a bunch of materials, and it does cost a pretty hefty price in your credits. Unbind item. So like I said, you can purchase this with G's, and that's the only way. Well, you can also unlock them from Marvelous chests as well, but I mean that still costs G's anyways. But with unbind item is any ring, medal, or medallion, relic, or item, legendary item, or artifact, you can what's it called? You can unbind them. Right now, the complete relics are, I guess, are bugged because I tried to unbind my relic, my complete relic, and it didn't unbind. There was no option to unbind it. But you can use this to unbind any item and so that you can put on a different character. For example, if you get an artifact on a character, one character, and you don't really like it on that character, but you want to put it on a different character that can benefit from it, you can use this unbind item and unbind it and give it to the other character. But now here's the thing: I wouldn't use your unbind item on low level items. I would just leave it alone. You want to use it on something like a cosmic artifact, or yeah, really just the cosmic artifacts is probably the best option. I mean, rings are good too if you have really good rings, but a bunch of them are put on one character, and because rings get bound to characters as well. Medallions do not, so yeah, you can put medallions on any character, but the rings, they do get bound to characters, so you can use that as well. The next thing on the list is do not sell your materials for obvious reasons. So I know credits can be an issue at a low level, but make sure you do not sell your crafting materials. The only materials you should sell are cosmic essence, and you'll be able to read it under it says common crafting material or whatever, and credit item. If it says credit item, then that means you can sell them, and they're not worth a damn for your crafting. So if it says credit item, sell it. If it doesn't, if it says crafting material, keep it. because you're going to need those crafting materials for later, for just very way later. You're gonna want a bunch of crafting materials, because even if you have like a few hundred crafting materials, and you might think you have enough, you're not gonna have enough. Trust me. So that's that. Um, don't forget. So the next thing is to not focus on the green and red arrows on your gear and weapons and whatnot, because the game prioritizes attack speed and base damage, boss damage. So if I can find, all right, so no, I don't know if I can find anything. Let me switch characters to Psylocke.
I've been looking forward to this.
So with Psylocke, no, that's not a good example. Man. Alright, anyways, I'm just gonna pretend.
Hello.
So you see
I
how
just
it
happened
has
to be in
the
the
3 red
neighborhood.
arrows down and 1 red arrow on the shield? Sometimes that may not look right. Because let's say you have attack speed on your boss and boss damage on the boots that I'm wearing right now, and the boots, fuck, here, let me see if it's pretty hard to do an example like that with something that's not there or whatever. I'm pretty sure I have something that can help me out right here. Alright, so retrieve. So as you can see, this one has higher arrows or it has 2 green arrows and another green arrow on the right side. But the reason why I'm using the other one is because what you want to do is you want to know what your stats are and try to balance them out. So this one gives me more critical damage, but the other one gives me more brutal damage. And I already have high enough critical damage, but I don't have high enough brutal damage to balance it out. That is why I put that one on instead of this one. If the one in my inventory, if that one had attack speed and boss damage, it would be even higher. Arrow. I think it would be 3 arrows. But the thing is, you don't necessarily need to focus on attack speed at all for most characters. You want to focus on your critical hit, your brutal damage, critical damage, and brutal strike, and then your base damage, mainly because that's what's going to give you your DPS. Attack speed will let you do more damage per second, kind of. I mean, that technically is DPS, but it's going to let you do more hits every so now and then. But it doesn't mean you're going to be doing more damage in general. So, yeah, that's that with that part. So with your legendary, so when you complete your story, you're going to be given this thing called legendary missions. So the legendary missions is on the left side, the left box. It says daily bonus available +1 legendary mark. So it doesn't mean you can do legendary missions once a day. You just get a bonus from doing it. So you get +1 legendary marks a day from it. You can, depending on the mission and your difficulty, if you're doing it on cosmic, what I've noticed is I've been getting about 6 legendary marks for completing it versus 2 legendary marks in a normal difficulty.
Hey, watch where you go.
And the experience also varies, and your credits varies on your what's it called, your difficulty level.
You're becoming quite a warrior, Kitty.
The way you
Just don't
unlock
give
your
up
legendary
your soul
quest
to get
is you
there.
have to complete all 9 chapters from start to finish. For your character, it only has to be for one character. One character has to complete it, and then legendary quest unlocks for every other character. And if you prestige, it doesn't matter because you still keep your legendary missions. So that's how you get your legendary missions unlocked. The next thing is you want to make sure you read your abilities. And what I mean is you don't necessarily, I'm not talking about what it does, I'm talking about what type of ability it is. So if you look at the title, it says Falling Lotus Strike. and then under it says melee, movement, bleeding, sword, and cooldown. The reason why you want to read those is because you want to base your stats off of those, your legendary item, you want to base those off of that. You want to base your synergies off of those. So whatever the majority is, like if the majority is movement speed or movement abilities, then you want to base your legendary item and your synergies off of the bleed movement. If the majority is from bleeding, or bleeding is the main ability, like even if you have one or two bleeding attacks, but that's the main thing you're using, you want to base your legendary item and other stuff off of bleed, and so on and so on. So not many people realize that for some reason. They don't notice that those are there for a reason. Um, so yeah, you got that. The next, the last thing we're going to go over, well, the last two things is your legendary items and your synergies. So legendary items first is right over here. So legendary items is going to be right across from the waypoint. So if you're here, you're just gonna have to go straight, come all the way over here to the legendary item vendor. So what the legendary item vendor is, most of them will cost 300, and there's one that's 25, Home of Allfather. The thing about this is I wouldn't necessarily focus on getting it just because I mean, even though it's the cheapest one, it's only 25 legendary marks. 25 legendary marks can, be a pretty grind. Pretty much a nasty, not nasty, but just a grind. I would save up for one of the 300s for whatever character you're using. For example, if you're using Psylocke, you either want to go with Hermes Winged Sandals or Red Muramasa Blade because of the bleeding damage, which is really, really nice, and a Brutal Strike, and the 5th rank. But for any other character, if you're using a Summoner, Neptune's Trident is a good one, and so on and so on. And the way you gain those legendary marks is from your legendary quest, dupes. So if you kill dupes, you get legendary marks from them as well. And you can get them from your currency booster from farming bosses, which is probably the fastest way because I made about almost 3,000 legendary marks within 18 hours of just farming bosses with currency booster. If I were to do that, if I were to farm quests for 18 hours, legendary quests for 18 hours, I'd probably be in a few hundreds or so, like maybe about 1,000 legendary marks from 18 hours. For like, you can't necessarily farm dupes because dupes, they just spawn up, and what dupes are, they're these little ectoplasm ghosts from Ghostbusters. So you'll see those, and then you'll also see the big cosmic dupe anywhere in the world. It spawns out randomly as well, not as much as the smaller ones, but if there is a big dupe out, it'll tell you on your screen and on your map. It'll show you where they are. What else? And yeah, so the dupes, both dupes will drop a bunch of crafting material and legendary marks. So there's that with your legendary items, and then the last thing is your synergies. So synergies, oh my goodness, that is getting very annoying. So with synergies, the way you unlock your synergies is you get your character to level 60. So for example, my Psylocke is level 60, and you unlock their talents. You unlock their, not talents, but their stats. So these stats can go for any and every character. So let's say I wanted to get Magic synergy, and she was only level 1. I won't be able to get her synergies, but then if I get her to level 60, I'll be able to unlock her synergies and put her synergy stats on any character that I want. So you really want to look at the synergies and put those on your character, like if that's how you want to build your character. So like for Psylocke, I built her more for melee power damage, or melee damage. So I put as much of the melee damage as I could. Only one I'm missing is Black Panther, but everyone else I just put boss damage, which is a really good one to have. Blade's attack speed and heal on hit, Angela's cooldown and speed attribute, Hawkeye's crit damage, and whatever else he had. Squirrel Girl's boss damage, and Scarlet Witch's damage over time, and Nova's movement speed. You know, all those really help you out. You want to use it to benefit your character. And if you only have one character unlocked, that's completely fine, because if you get that character you're playing up to level 60 or even 25 to 50, it'll it's up to 50, not 60, but 25 to 50, you'll get a synergy that helps that character. They won't give you a synergy that's not going to benefit your character. So yeah, that's that for this guide for beginners. This is only part 1. I will be doing a part 2 right after this. I just didn't want to extend the time way too long, make it super, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing the second part right after this. So if this video helped you out at all, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know. And
your rage is like thunder,
yeah, if you have any other
tempest.
suggestions, any like informative suggestions, let me know. I will be doing more build videos later, but I've just been pretty lazy with it because I got burnt out of leveling characters up. So I've just been playing with Stylock and other characters, just farming, because you know I wanted to have fun with the game, not necessarily work too much at getting every character to level 60 and then going into Cosmic. But I mean, I have a friend that did that, and I know other YouTubers who have been doing that as well. So that's why I've been like, you know, I'll just take a break from it a little. And you guys can see their builds, and then I haven't watched any of their build videos, and I'm not planning on it because I don't like watching other people's builds. But yeah, so this is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.